Marvel, one of the biggest companies when it comes to the comic book industry and the movie industry, making a bunch of comic books and selling millions and thousands of comic books, and also making one of the most famous film franchises ever in recent years. So, like, what's its connection with the CBS? Uh, So from the 70s to the 90s, Marvel wasn't doing very well with the movie business because DC was popping out big like Superman, the Wonder Woman show, and later the Tim Burton Batman. And Marvel wasn't really making movies, you know. They weren't the powerhouse as they were like in the 2000s. So they were selling a bunch of the character rights to a bunch of companies so they can make movies for the cheap. One of the companies that bought most of the characters will be CBS, which they would later make two shows for Spiderman and the Hulk, two movie pilots for Doctor Strange and Captain America, and later they will make three other movies for the Hulk. And yeah, that was all. So let's jump on the pile of the good, the bad, and the strange road of the CBS Marvel movies and see what the fuck was going on at that time. In 1977, CBS was able to make their first Marvel project, being The Incredible Hulk. The show was a success, but it still has a very troublesome production history, mostly because of the director, which hated comic books. Like, not just superheroes, comic books in general, he hated it. And he wanted to make the Hulk as realistic as possible to stay away from the comic book as much as he could. Like, he even wanted to make the Hulk red at some point. But thankfully, the crew wasn't this crazy to make the Hulk red. But he did make one change, and that was change Bruce Banner's name to now David Bruce Banner, or how he's called in the show, David Banner. The reason is because the crew thought the name Bruce Banner was gay. He made him sound homosexual. I'm not joking, like Stanley even said that in an interview one time.
I asked the logical question, why are you doing that? His name is supposed to be Bruce. And some genius at the network said, oh no, Stan, Bruce makes him sound homosexual. It sounds gay.
Yeah, but apart from that, the show's very good. Bill Bixby as Bruce Banner is honestly a great actor for Bruce Banner. I love him. I love his take on the character. And the Hulk, played by Lou Ferrigno, is a great Hulk. I really like him. Another thing about the series is that it's much more like a drama than anything else. It isn't like your typical 60s superhero cartoon. No, it takes itself very seriously, which I think it works very well with the Hulk. And it also doesn't have any villains from the Hulk comics. It's just mostly some or average Joe that is like robbing a 7-Eleven or something. Yeah, it's mostly like that. And there are no other heroes here, it's just the Hulk. No other cameos yet. We are going to talk about that later. The series would go for 5 seasons until it would end in 1982, being cancelled by CBS. Yeah, and if you happen, this series is a 8 for me. Maybe even a 8.5. Maybe even a 9. Maybe even a 9.5. And later 3 other movies, but But, you know, this series wasn't the only thing CBS was airing that is related to Marvel. There was another series with another Marvel character, a very well-known character, who aired the same time as the Hulk, in which certainly, I'm very sure it takes place in the same universe as the Hulk series. And that character is So in 1977, CBS also got the rights to do a Spiderman show, and they decided to do it just like the Hulk. But unlike the Hulk, it was kind of shit. Okay, it isn't shit, it's just very boring and mediocre at times. Because just like the Hulk, they decided to make it more grounded, more realistic, having no villains and changing the story a bit as well. So Yeah, that's kind of bad. Like, there's no Harry Osborn, there's no Mary Jane, there's no Gwen Stacy, there isn't a Uncle Ben. The only close thing to that would be Aunt May, but she appears for like 2 episodes and never again. But other than that, I think there's some good things up with the show. I really like the Bugle cast. I really like their take on J. Jonah Jameson. It's very more grounded, and he isn't like as funny as we all know and love him in the Sam Raimi movies. But he's a nice take on J. Jonah Jameson. He even likes he like supports Peter later in the series, and even starts to like Spider-Man. So that's nice. The practical effects in the show as well are like very good. I really like it. They don't use it or do it as much as something like the Japanese series, but it's still good to see and it's still cool. I also want to talk about Nicholas Hammond, aka the Peter Parker in the show. He's a very good actor. I really like him and know his take on Peter Parker and Spider-Man. Kinda sad to see that he's very forgotten. You know, when people talk about the movie Spider-Man, they always talk about, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. And never Nicholas, which is kinda sad because he really lacks the character. But yeah, that's about it for the series. Overall, I think I'll give it a 5 or 5.5. It has its problems, but it's good in some parts, I think. Yeah.